Andy still happy with exposure?
Standing by.
Hello. Jelena Dokic is having a roller coaster of a year. The former women's tennis world number 4 turned commentator has just returned from the US Open after winning a major television award for a documentary about her life and finding new love after the breakdown of her 19-year relationship. She's also processing complicated grief after the death a few months ago of her abusive father, Damir Dokic. The public loves Jelena, and so we thought, why not ask a few of them to join us for a special Australian Story conversation in conjunction with the Wheeler Centre here in Melbourne.
Representing Australia, Jelena Dokic.
She's 15 years old and can't stop her.
By 15, Jelena Dokic was a star in the making.
This girl is going to be a formidable player. This is immense. And that's it.
By 16, she was beating the world's best.
What an incredible upset. Crowd are on their feet.
But then, at a critical moment, things got ugly.
I think Tennis Australia, they don't do nothing good for Jelena.
Australia's top-ranked female tennis player, Jelena Dokic, has turned her back on her adopted country.
Would you welcome from Yugoslavia, Jelena Dokic.
And the Australian crowd turned.
And her opponent from the United States of America, Lindsay Davenport.
The defection follows a turbulent lead-up to the tournament for the 17-year-old.
Damir Dokic, currently banned from tennis venues because of his angry outbursts.
Jelena Dokic would have to cut her father loose to free herself.
The way to finish for Jelena Dokic.
Jelena Dokic has returned to Australia after 4 years in self-imposed exile.
It was one of the most heartwarming stories in the 104-year history of the Australian Open.
Last time I played on this court, the story was a bit different, but thank you all for supporting me. It feels really unbelievable.
She won the hearts and minds of Australians and tennis fans worldwide. It was quite simply the return of the prodigal daughter.
Wow, can you feel the excitement in the
crowd? Yeah, I don't usually get nervous for these things anymore, but my hands are sweating. That's a big sign I'm nervous. And thank you all for coming. I can't thank you enough. Thank you.
It really feels like it is your moment right now. Your commentating career is going from strength to strength. You're in love. How does it feel to be Jelena Dokic right now?
Yeah, I can literally say, no exaggeration here, that I'm the happiest I've ever been. Yeah, I'm very, very happy where I am, very proud mostly though, I would say, of the work I'm trying to do and what I'm trying to stand for, and that it is resonating with people, that it is making an impact. That's what I always wanted, so it's kind of, it's almost surreal a little bit. I'm very aware of the tough moments I've had in life. I've also had great moments as well and great experiences, there's no doubt about that. But yeah, it feels great to kind of be 42 now. I don't hide that. I'm very actually happy and proud to be 42 because I feel like I've never been wiser. And all of those experiences have shaped who I am.
In the early 1990s, your family fled Croatia as refugees, and then you ended up coming to Australia when you were 11. You were highly gifted at tennis and rose to become the women's world number 4 by your late teens. But behind this success was your very abusive father, Damir Dokic. You finally fled the family when you were 19, and then many of the years since have been spent recovering and rebuilding. When you look at a photograph of young Jelena today, what do you see and what do you think?
You start with the hard-hitting questions. It's interesting because I have a couple of pictures of myself when I was younger. And all of those pictures, you can see that I'm sad. After I turned 6 is when I started playing tennis and the abuse started. And you can see the sadness in my eyes. Because I grew up in a family where nothing was good enough, especially for my father. So I felt like I was always not good enough and didn't have that self-worth. The abuse from my father was quite extreme, to the point that at one stage when I was 17, I was kicked and punched in the head so hard it left me unconscious. And I was already brutally beaten at the age of 9 or 10.
As children, all of us, at least for a time, think that our childhood is normal because that's all we know. Was there a moment where you realised this isn't normal?
Yes and no. I think later on I realised that it wasn't. But at the same time, when you're living with the amount of abuse that I was going through every single day and worrying whether you're going to survive that day, due to the abuse, it does become normal. And that's the problem for anyone in a domestic violence situation, family violence, partner violence as well, especially if it happens from a very young age. You are so used to it and you're so used to living in that fear that it becomes normal for you. But I think for me, I always, in a way, I don't know why even to this day, it's that fighter in me and that self-belief. I always wanted to get out of that. And look, I'm an Aries, maybe that has something to do. Is anyone an Aries here? I don't know. Are we like really stubborn? Yeah, I don't know. And I fought on the court and I kind of thought, you know what, this can't be it. And I played so hard for Australia. I was so proud to win.
In 2000, you achieved a career highlight, which is you made it to the semi-finals of Wimbledon and you were defeated by Lindsay Davenport, one of the all-time great players. And you were not allowed back into your hotel room because your father viewed that as a failure. Was that the first time that you'd realised, oh, hang on, nothing I can do here is ever going to be good enough?
Absolutely. I realised that probably even a little bit earlier, I would say. And that, in a way, for me, cemented things that left a scar on me emotionally. That is one of those things that stays with you when you reach the Wimbledon semi-finals at the age of 17 and your family, your father, doesn't matter, doesn't allow you to come back home. That's how much of a disgrace you are for that person. And I had nowhere to go on top of that as well. Yeah, that's where you go. This is something that's going to leave a scar for a very long time. But at the same time, he was getting more and more violent, more and more out of control. Some of those public outbursts also started to happen at that time. I felt like my father should have been banned a lot earlier. It took literally 10 incidents for him to be banned for 6 months. I don't think that kind of abuse or violence should be anywhere near sport. Like, I'm talking parents of tennis players, for example, or coaches. I've always said if that happens, they should never be able to get near a tennis court or a player again.
As a child, no matter how highly you achieved, you were drilled over and over again by your father that you were useless, you were worthless, and you know, worse things were said to you. And of course, children internalise that kind of self-talk.
Oh, that stayed with me for a very long time, actually. It's so drilled in you that you are just not worthy of anything and that you can't do anything right. Because that's also a massive consequence of domestic violence and even mental health struggles. You lose your worth and you don't think like you're enough. And you're constantly also told that you're not. And a lot worse things, because even through my biggest achievements on the court, I didn't have any self-worth.
Would you welcome from Yugoslavia, Jelena Dokic. And her opponent from the United States of America, Lindsay Davenport.
You write in your memoir, Unbreakable, that one of the worst moments of your life was when you came onto the court as a young woman, when your father had removed you from Australia to play for Yugoslavia, and you were booed when you walked out. It was devastating. How do you process that as an adult?
That was the worst moment of my life, when he changed allegiances from Australia to play for Yugoslavia 24 hours before my first round of the Australian Open on Rod Laver Arena against the world #1, Lindsay Davenport. And to, as a 17-year-old, put me in that position and to get the booing of 15,000 people, and of course, him watching at home in a hotel while I'm going through this, I just wanted to disappear. And I felt like so much was taken away from me in that moment, from me being Australian to me absolutely loving my fans and loving Australia. So it was one of the most traumatic moments, I would say, ever. I would rather take 100 years of beating than having to ever go through that moment. And today I look at that as an experience of going, that was the worst of the worst, and look at where I am today.
With your father's behaviour, you wrote that he took all your money from your tennis career. When you left with nothing. Now that he's died, are you going to get some of that money back? It's your money.
No. and that's okay, even though it left me in very difficult positions a few times, including when I left home. I was literally on the street, had nowhere to go. If I didn't have tennis and the next paycheck coming in a week or two, don't know where I would go. So in a way, I was really fortunate with that. But no, I never looked at it that way. For me, is there finance people here? They're going to say you should have been smarter than that. I know. I've heard it before. I know. Trust me, I'm a lot smarter today.
You write in Unbreakable that you got to a point of thinking, does he actually love me? Because I cannot understand how a father can treat a daughter like this. Were you ever able to come to a conclusion about that and an answer to that question? Or have you been able to accept that you will never know that?
No, I've come to terms actually to accept that he doesn't love me and that he never did. And I genuinely believe that. And some people might think it's maybe extreme, but I'm a firm believer that you can't do that to someone, especially a child, if you love them. And did I search for answers? Look, I tried to reconcile with my father 2 or 3 times, and this was a couple of years after I left home, and I thought, look, I'm older now, maybe he's changed. We don't even have to kind of talk about tennis or have this kind of common ground of tennis. It can just be a parent and child, father and daughter relationship, what you always kind of hope for, right? I tried, it wasn't possible. It's hard when someone's not even a little bit sorry or has any remorse. And in fact, he said he would do it all again. So I tried, and also it was always, even when I tried to reconcile, it was other things, like it was always financial based and so on. And that's what...
So you said he would do it all again?
Yeah.
You had no regrets?
Yeah.
Never sought your forgiveness?
No, never. So I had to make, it was hard for me at the time, because I also still had a lot of trauma. I battled anxiety, depression, PTSD and eating disorder after I almost took my own life at 22, so it was really hard, but I had to make a choice at one stage and go, this is extremely toxic. It's just not healthy. There's no point of me even here and there talking to him. He never picked up the phone to call me. He never wanted to see me. So I just made a cut, and we were estranged for 10 years. He passed away a few months ago, and it just had to be that way.
Many people have difficult parents, horrible parents, abusive parents, as you did, and many people will have had in this room even the experience of losing a parent with whom you had a difficult, complicated relationship. What is that kind of grief like?
Every single person that's had a difficult relationship with a parent, especially if it was an abusive relationship, will know it's extremely complicated. It's unique for everyone. And people ask me if I hate my father. And quite a few people are surprised when I say I actually don't. I don't necessarily actually, though, forgive him or have to forgive him. But here's the big thing, I do not hate him. I did a little bit go into what if? What if maybe he was different? Or what if I had a different parent? But again, just for a second, because I don't like to do that. I don't like to go into the past and what ifs. It was the way that it was. He was the way that he was. And it's in a way, it's as simple as that. Even if you've had an abusive parent, there's so many people that still feel very sad when their parent passes away. Some don't. But for me, I kind of feel like that's the end of that chapter. That kind of felt like, for me, it's the end, it's done, and that's kind of it, really.
I was starting to feel really broken inside.
When you look back and see what she did accomplish, wow.
Every time you go out there on the court, you got to believe that you can win.
An amazing story.
It's similar in life as well.
That documentary about your life just won a major award. So when you won a Logie a few months ago, you said that until quite recently you were a timid person, you lacked confidence, you didn't have a voice. What has been key to enabling you to find your voice?
To be honest with you, I think I was very, very fortunate, in a way lucky, I say, because for me it happened in the form of getting an opportunity to write a book 9 years ago, almost 10 years ago, after I retired from tennis. And if I didn't share my story, I can with 100% certainty say that I wouldn't be here today. There's no doubt about that. Sharing my story has given me the ability to find my voice, to reclaim my life and my power, and to actually from there really not be silenced for the very first time in 35 years. So it actually saved my life being able to share my story.
Does it come at a cost to you sharing it like this?
It was difficult. It was draining mentally. I had to relive a lot of moments. A lot of things came up that I really buried down really deeply. And then when the book came out that day, 13th of November 2017, I will never forget it. Because, and I've said it every single day since, it's the best day of my life. That was the best day of my life.
And why was that?
There was this massive freedom that came with that. My voice, my life, I could reclaim it. This huge weight was lifted off my shoulders that I didn't even know was there. I also got professional help for my mental health for the very first time in 2 decades. I didn't get help before that because, again, I grew up not just in a family and culture, but also in an environment in general, in the public eye, where if you said you struggled with your mental health, let's be honest, even as far back as 6-7 years ago, you would be labelled as crazy. And when I shared my story for the very first time in my book, I was like, this is the time to get professional help. I shared it all. I'm free, and it saved my life.
How did all of your experiences not kill your love of tennis?
Maybe because I really, really loved it. I always have. I've always said it. From the very first day I hit that tennis ball, it was like the love of my life, literally. If my career wasn't cut short because of injuries and my mental health struggles at 29, I say I would have played till 50, I swear. I would have found a way. And now I get that kind of fix from TV and commentary and being able to analyse and bring it to people for 4 or 5 months a year with all the Grand Slams and other tournaments. And I'm actually really happy with all of these different fields that I'm in because I never thought I would be in them. And at first, actually, I wasn't good at it. I got every single door shut when it came to commentary and TV, actually. Everyone said no. And to be honest, I wasn't very good at it. But I went out there and I did it all. I tried it all. I really believe in hard work. That's what gets me through. So I joke around a little bit these days and say I've really switched my tennis shoes for heels. Because 10 years ago, I wouldn't be able to do 2 steps in these heels.
You've spoken a lot about body shaming and what you've experienced there with constant public commentary about your weight and appearance. Has calling that out publicly stopped it?
I don't know whether we can ever completely stop that. That's the thing with the internet and social media. There's billions of people on it. And I always say someone's always going to be out there that's going to, unfortunately, write something mean and something bad. But it has certainly absolutely helped, not just towards me, but towards others. And I'm so glad I did it. So I kind of felt like with online trolling and bullying, so many of us get it, and body shaming as well. It was similar to abuse and domestic violence and mental health and not talking about it in our society for such a long time. I was like, well, that's not right. That's not the right thing to do. So I did it. I called it out. It was amazing to see the response from people. Maybe if I do it, someone else will then have the courage to do it too. If there's 2 of us doing it, then there'll be 4, then there'll be 8, then there'll be 15. That is how we do it. The way that you take power away from any kind of, I say, bad thing in the world, bullies, trolls, violence, abuse, anything, is by speaking up, not by being quiet. As soon as we speak up, we take that power away from them.
On your social media recently, you've shared a couple of posts that you have found new love. Is there anything you can tell us about that?
Oh, you really want to know everything.
I'm a very big sticky beak.
Yes, I think look, I'm an open book. I share everything, and that's the whole point of me being who I am. Of course, you still keep some parts private, but I went through a 19-year relationship with my ex-partner. He was incredible in being there for me. We went through a lot together. At the same time, though, it came to an end and we kind of grew apart. And that's life. We were together since we were 20, 21. So in a way, it was a bit of a test and I had to deal with that. And yeah, I was alone for 4 years, 4 years on, accidental meeting. And yeah, someone new came into my life. It's still new. It's only kind of been really this year. But it's amazing because it's someone that I never thought someone like that would walk into my life again. He's amazing. And I know it might sound like a cliche, but when you say someone just comes into your life and makes you believe again, and makes you believe that there are good people out there, and makes you believe in love again, is something maybe you thought you would never find again, and pretty much probably, I would say, gave up on. And he showed me that that's not the case. So
I think you've just made everyone in the room so happy by hearing how happy you are. Let's take some questions from the room. Pop your hand up if you'd like to ask Jelena a question. How about we'll have one over here and then how about one here?
Hi, Jelena. Thank you for being here tonight. In your first book, you spoke a little bit about your relationship with your brother and your mother, and your fear perhaps of leaving your brother behind. My question is, do you still have a relationship with your brother and your mother?
I have a great relationship with my brother today. I actually just spoke to him 5 minutes ago before I came on. Yes, I wasn't in touch with my brother for 7 years because my father stopped that. He's 8 years younger than me. So when I left home, my father used that to kind of weaponize that against me and that relationship. So that was really hard for me. And later on, we got in touch and started to develop that relationship again. And we've got a fantastic relationship today. He's my younger brother. I would literally die for him. And Mum, tough relationship. I talk about that in my books because she always supported my father. We've had tough conversations. Obviously, it was really hard at one stage with that relationship with her having my father's back. But we talk today and have a good relationship.
Hi, Jelena. Thank you for sharing the story. Did you go to your dad's funeral? If not, why not? Or if so, why so? Thanks.
No, I didn't. I didn't feel like I needed to go, to be honest. That was a decision I made in that moment, and that was my choice at the time, and I didn't feel like I needed to and wanted to go.
The gentleman down here.
As a primary school teacher, I'm really interested to know if this was an assembly with 500 or so primary or high school kids, what would your life lesson be to them?
I always wanted to come out of everything as a winner and as a success story. I'm not a victim. I don't want pity. I don't want anyone to feel sorry for me. This was always about coming out the other end, and maybe someone will see it and go, you know what, she did it. Maybe I can do it too. But if there's any lesson I can give them, never allow anyone to take your worth away, to tell you you're not enough. Never allow anyone to take your smile and your happiness away. And I would also tell them, you will fall, you will fail, you will make mistakes, you will do it 1,000,000 times. As long as you get back up 1,000,001.
Jelena, you have been so generous with your time and your insights. Thank you so much for sharing your vulnerability and your story, and for all of what you're doing to try to make things better for us as a whole. Would you please thank the amazing Jelena Dokic?
Thank you.
want me in or just Jelena? Thank you. Thanks. Nice
Yeah,
to meet
you're
you.
welcome. Thank you.
It's not mandatory to own them. It's fine.
1, 2, 3.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming. Thank you. Do you want to come in the middle?
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.